What's going on, everybody? It's Mr. Do It All, and today it's video number 2 of our NFL preview. And today we're going to be talking about the Chicago Bears. We just finished up the NFC East. I'll make sure to go ahead and leave a link to that, to all 4 of those videos. Make sure to check those out if you are an NFC East fan. But today we are finally jumping into the NFC North and talking about the Chicago Bears, a team that needs to rebuild. So let's go ahead and talk about some of their offseason moves, transactions, and what their schedule, their draft, and how we think that they did, or where they think they might finish. So, jumping into some of their free agent pickups, losses, they did release Jay Cutler, who just signed with the Miami Dolphins. They signed Prince Amukamara, defensive back, and Christian Jones, a linebacker. They did sign Mike Glennon and tight end Deion Simmons to 3-year contracts, and Marcus Wheaton. No real big names for them to sign. Let's see. They waived Tracy Porter, somebody who started tons of games for them last year. Brought in Victor Cruz for veteran depth, and they drafted in the first round Mitchell Trubisky. Now, if we all remember going back to draft day, they did have kind of a, let's just say that they gave up a lot to draft Mitchell Trubisky, who everyone believes is going to be their starter for the future. Sorry, I'm using this iPad to go ahead and look back on their draft picks. But they drafted Mitchell Trubisky to be their quarterback of the future. A lot of stuff that I was seeing back in camp was that he had trouble getting under the center. He was fumbling a lot of snaps. So it'll be interesting. He might take a year to develop, and they'll start Mike Glennon, who was previously with Tampa Bay. But dipping into that, they needed a lot of help. They drafted a tight end to help them out. They saw Zach Miller, I believe, who was a big-time target when healthy. They drafted a safety from Alabama, Eddie Jackson, a running back from North Carolina. They only had a couple draft picks, and they did give up a lot. Now, jumping back to their depth chart a little bit, we have Mike Glennon starting at quarterback, Jordan Howard starting at running back. Jordan Howard had a tremendous year last year. I don't know if a lot of you guys remember. He was probably, I think, 2nd or 3rd in rushing yards. And in terms of receivers, they're not exactly top of the line receivers. Cameron Meredith played really well last year. And they have Kevin White and Kendall Wright. Kevin White, they drafted in the first round, I think, a couple years ago, and he hasn't really gotten comfortable. Jumping to their defense, their offensive line is really average. They have Kyle Long and Cody Whitehair at center and right guard. That's probably their 2 best linemen. Tackles have needed to work for a couple years. But jumping to the defensive side of the ball, a player that I really like on their defense is Leonard Floyd. Has a chance to develop into a 3-4 rushing end for the next 10 years probably, assuming he gets moves. He was their first-round pick, I believe, last year. I really liked him coming out. He's the type of player that can change the game. Let's just say he has a little bit more bulk to his size, and he has a chance to develop into what they're looking for in the 3-4 rush edge. Defensive backs, they're okay, not the best. They do have a really good inside linebacker tandem with Danny Trevathan and Jarrell Freeman, 2 guys that'll get you 100+ tackles. Now, jumping into their schedule. I'm going to be straight up honest. In the NFC East, I did mostly a lot of toss-up games for divisional battles. In this division, I don't think they're going to win very many games. Let's just talk about their schedule. So they start the season off versus Atlanta. That's a L. Then they play at Tampa. That's a L. They play versus Pittsburgh. That's a L. At Green Bay. That's an L. Versus Minnesota, that's an L. At Baltimore, that's an L. Versus Carolina, that's an L. At New Orleans, that's an L. 0-8 before their bye week. That's what I'm seeing. Then after their bye week, they play Green Bay. That's an L. Then they play Detroit. Detroit's not that talented, but that's an L. At Philly, that's an L. Versus San Francisco, that could be a W. That might be the only toss-up. I see they play Cleveland. So there's 2 toss-up games for them that they have a chance. I think San Francisco's a little worse off because they don't have a quarterback. But we'll see. At Cincinnati, Cincinnati's not that strong either. I'll give that one a toss-up. At Detroit, that's an L. Versus Cleveland, now I do think Cleveland is a very team that's actually on the rise. I think that they're going to be better than they were last year. So I'm actually going to give this one a toss-up. It can go either way. Finish the season at Minnesota. That's an L. So going off of their schedule right now, they can go 2-14, 3-13. They will finish last in the division and once again have a top draft pick. Hopefully by then they'll be able to get some weapons for Trubisky. Because they already have Jordan Howard. They have a strong running back. And this is a running back that was second or third, top 5 in the league in rushing yards behind an average offensive line. So they get a receiver to go with that. And they work up their defense, getting more young pieces. If they can find a way to acquire draft picks and bring in a couple of veterans that know how to teach young kids, then they have a chance in a couple years. But I don't see them doing anything over the next year or 2. Maybe year 3 they'll be able to develop. But that's my quick preview on the Chicago Bears. I almost said Cleveland Browns. But that's my quick season preview on the Chicago Bears. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm out. Thanks, guys.